Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm PassioKnit Kelsie. Today I'm going to be recording a Q&A. I asked for questions here on YouTube as well as my Instagram, and we're just going to see what you guys want to know. I'm currently working on this in order for a black and green spiderweb top. Very cute. I have a boppy, which is technically a breastfeeding pillow, but I bought this for arm support, so I know I kind of look silly. I feel like I look weird, but it's for my elbows, okay? All right. Our first question is from Crochet Me Zaddy. If fiber arts didn't exist, what would you be doing with your life right now? I honestly think that is a super interesting question, and the real answer is I have absolutely no idea. I started crocheting whenever I was 13 years old, and I actually opened my Etsy business as soon as I turned 18. While I was in high school, I was planning to go to college for business because that was pretty much the most basic degree, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. But I guess to answer the question, if fiber arts didn't exist at all, I probably would be going towards a business degree, and honestly, I probably would have continued doing color guard into college. But I don't even want to get into that. Next question, how do you stay motivated to crochet? I think this is a pretty interesting question, and I get it a lot. And the answer is kind of like 50-50 on this one. So sometimes the answer is, I need money. This is my full-time job. I have to crochet. I have to make items in order to make money. And I need money to survive. So my motivator, a lot of the times, is money. I need to work. Gotta work. Everyone needs to work. Gotta get stuff done, you know? But then I also love crocheting. So all the other times whenever I am not just making products to sell, I have creative sparks and I want to crochet and I love crocheting and stuff like that. I guess my main motivation is keeping my business going, staying happy, staying healthy. And my secondary motivation is artistic expression. I also I am one of those people that I like to have my hands doing something at all times. So even if I'm watching a TV show or walking on a treadmill or doing something else, I just, I need to play with something. So a lot of the times I am crocheting, but I'm not even actually thinking about it. So it doesn't really affect me. What's your process for writing patterns? So I have two different ways that I write patterns usually. One of them is I have a specific idea in my head and I need to figure out how to make that idea. So usually I will sketch it out and I think through the process of the design, and then I will write down some notes, and then I go and I try to make that thing and I make sure it works out. Does it look like the picture? Is it what I was imagining in my head? And if I like it, then I'll make it again and I'll write down all the instructions. And then my other method for writing patterns is that I just really want to crochet something and I don't really have any specific ideas in my mind. I just kind of let my mind wander. I start crocheting and I just make it up as I go, really. And then once I get to the end product, if I really like it, then I will make it again and write everything down. If I want to make any tweaks, I'll make it again with those certain changes. And then once I just find a final product that I really love, that's when I will start writing the pattern out. Next question, is there a project you really want to try to make but haven't yet? Honestly, lately, I have really had an eye on tapestry crochet. I just really like how they make really cute, pretty pictures, and then you can hang it on your wall and have it as an art piece in your house. And it looks so good. I really like having art for my house. I really want to make more art for my house. I want to make some cute stuff. I want to make some cute things. I want to make some adorable stuff to hang on my walls. So yeah, so if I had to pick something right now to try to make, I would probably pick tapestry crochet. Just because it sounds fun, and then if I do a good job, I'll have a beautiful product to hang up at my wall and look at every day. Next question, do your seizures interfere with your work? I'm not sure. Obviously, I am super blessed that I started my business when I did and it was taking off when it did because I wasn't diagnosed with epilepsy until I was 22, I believe. So I got very lucky with the way that things happened because when I started having seizures, I was able to quit my job. I was able to start working from home and I had no problems transitioning money-wise, which was fantastic. I'm going to say no, they don't interfere with my work. Whenever I do have a seizure, I usually just take maybe like max 3 days of recovery. And then I'm really fine. I'm okay. I can still crochet, so it's not a huge problem. I would say the thing that interferes with my work the most is migraines, which suck. I have a migraine probably once a week at least, maybe more. And then I only have a seizure probably once or twice a year. So currently, right now with my medication and stuff. So no. What type of crochet style do you wish you could do/be better at? I want to say mostly I wish that I was able to make more artistic pieces rather than the pieces that I currently make. I feel like my style is pretty just like regular. I wish I had a more distinct, creative crochet style and people could just look at one of my pieces and recognize that it was mine right away. I feel like a lot of my designs are very standard, very basic, but they're cute. It's interesting as an artist, but I feel like I am not as creative as some of the other fiber artists in the world. Next, what has been the hardest part of your small business journey so far? Taxes? No, taxes are hard, but the hardest part is just knowing that I am in charge of my own destiny. That is so stupid. Oh my God. Generally, I am responsible if my business is doing well or not well. I'm very hard on myself, but I don't push myself enough, basically. I generally try not to force myself to do things that I don't want to do, which is probably not great for business practices. But then if let's say, I don't really feel like filming a YouTube video this week, and then I'm like, it's okay, I just won't do it, and it's fine. But then next week, whenever my YouTube revenue goes down because I didn't post, I'm like, why did I do that? I'm so stupid. Like, I am the one that's holding me back. And then I start being mean to myself and that makes me feel worse, and then I don't want to film anymore because I feel bad, and then it's just like it's a cycle. It can get out of hand sometimes, I think. I need to stay in a positive mindset, but it's hard. So yeah, knowing that I'm in charge is the hardest part of owning my own small business because like obviously used to whenever I would work in a fast food restaurant, if something went wrong, it's not my fault. I'm still getting my paycheck. It's fine. But if something goes wrong here, it's 100% my fault, and I am the one that has to deal with that. So, yeah. How long did you crochet before you started selling patterns and finished objects? I was probably crocheting for like a few years before I started selling objects. First, I started selling finished objects to my friends and family before I actually opened up an Etsy store and started selling to strangers, because selling to friends and family is very different than selling to strangers. Friends and family, if your project is a little off, if it maybe falls apart in the washing machine or something like that, your friends and family, they generally won't say anything to you. They're like, oh, it's fine, like, it's handmade, it's from a friend, like, you know, she made it herself, like, that's impressive, or, you know, whatever. But whenever you sell to strangers, they have much higher expectations. From them, it's not coming from a friend or a family member. It's coming from a business, and they expect it to be business quality, you know? They expect it to be very nice. It's not going to fall apart. It's going to fit perfectly. It's going to be exactly as described. And whenever I turned 18, that is when I opened my Etsy, and I didn't get a sale for probably about 6 months. Whenever I first opened my store. And then the sales after that were also just pretty slow starting out. So generally, I would say I was crocheting for about 6 years before I really started selling to people as a business. Next question, do you know Amazing-ish Grace? I do not know her personally, but I met her whenever I was in New York on a trip. I met her at Washington Park. I don't know. We didn't really talk. It was just like a little knitting circle, and we were there for maybe an hour to 2 hours. And, you know, we were just in the same vicinity. And I was like, hello. But none of them knew who I was. So it was just kind of like, hi. We were crocheting. And then we left. And that's it. I didn't talk to her one-on-one at all, but I've seen her. Did you go to college, and what was your major? I went to college and my major was fashion design. I actually only went for 2 years, and then I dropped out because honestly it was too hard. The things that were too hard were all of the general education credits, not necessarily the fashion design aspect. I really liked all of my fashion classes. It's just public speaking is the class that did me in. But also at the same time, I started having seizures. I was diagnosed with epilepsy. I wasn't allowed to drive anymore. My business was taking off. So I was like, I think it would be best for me if I just went home. Period. Have you ever tried to change the way you crochet, as in holding your yarn or hook differently? Did it work? Or is there only one way that's comfy for you? I have like changed up my style for fun, not really for a purpose. I'll just be feeling like silly goofy and I'll just be like, let me just crochet my next row with a pencil hold instead of my regular knife hold. And no, it doesn't work for me. I can't do it. I don't know how you pencil grip holders do any of that. Over the years, I think my hands have just fallen into the most comfortable positions. I found my groove and there's no reason to change it. As far as knitting goes, I do like trying out new techniques a lot because I'm not as well versed in knitting, and I mean, I really haven't tried everything. So a lot of the times whenever I try a new strategy, it actually works. So then I will change my technique. But crochet, at this point, I'm doing it the best, basically. Can you tell us more about how you first learned to crochet and why you took an interest in it? I was first introduced to crochet by my great-grandma. We had one sit-down lesson and she taught me how to do single crochets. I made a tiny little square and I was like, meh. I wasn't into it. I was probably about 8 years old, around there. And I was like, I mean, like, I did it. Like, I made my swatch, but it was too hard for me to stick to, so I just moved on. And then years later, whenever I was 13, I wanted to start crocheting. I don't know why I wanted to start crocheting. I have no idea. I don't remember. I was 13. My memory is terrible. Most likely, I saw like a little picture on Pinterest and I was like, I can do that. And then I just started crocheting. I taught myself how to crochet watching YouTube tutorials. And from there, I just never stopped. Do you deal with a lot of pain from crocheting so much? How do you combat this? Ever think you'll have to stop? So I would say in general, I don't deal with a lot of pain. The only times that I have a lot of pain is whenever I am really pushing myself to get a lot of work done. Like whenever I have a video get a lot of views and then I have a surge of orders, like I'll get 20 plus orders in one day. I really want to get those orders done as fast as I can. So I end up pushing myself and I make as many tops as I can in one day, and it really strains on my hands. And then for the following like week after that one day, 1 or 2 days where I'm pushing myself really hard, then I have a lot of pain. But in general, like most of my working time, I don't have a lot of pain, and it's just because I kind of crochet just at a regular pace and I try to take breaks. So yeah, I do get pain, but it's only whenever I push myself. Generally, I crochet every day for multiple hours, and I would say I don't have usual lingering pain unless I've worked too hard. As far as the end of the question, do you ever think you'll have to stop? Yeah, absolutely. I think that someday whenever I'm old, my hands will have probably shriveled up and fallen off. And I'm not looking forward to that day, but I'm not going to be surprised if it happens. Okay? Do you have any other craft hobbies? So I'll tell you about some of the craft hobbies that I have had throughout my life. Generally, I'm a very crafty gal. You know, I was very into friendship bracelets, like the thread and stuff like that. And I also liked doing hair wraps. I was very, very into duct tape art whenever I was in middle school. I had this little thing going where I was making duct tape purses. I did a lot of stuff with duct tape. I made myself a pair of shoes. I made myself a little sun hat because it was hat day during Spirit Week. Obviously, I know how to knit. I know how to sew. I actually learned how to sew before I learned how to crochet because my grandma taught me how to sew. I know how to do embroidery. And then most recently, the craft that I have been wanting to do the most badly is cross stitching because once again, it's just another cute thing that I made that I can hang in my house. And I love it. I am absolutely a beginner, 100%. I have only done 2 projects, and I can show them to you. So this one right here was the first project that I ever made. It has mistakes in it. I know it looks nice, but like, if you look long enough, I bet you could find the mistakes. The mistakes are basically just I wasn't following the color graph because, I don't know. It's cute. It's a little cat in a sweater. This was a DMC kit that I bought at Michael's, I think. It was either Michael's or Joann's. And then I put it in the loop and I put a little felt backing on it. And I even stitched it on. And I think it looks so good being my first project. And I'm super happy with it. Ta-da! And then the second one that I made was this one. This is another DMC kit that you can get. So those are the only 2 that I have finished. And I have more kits. This is so funny because it's exactly like buying yarn. But as soon as I got into cross stitching, I was like, I need to buy all of these kits. So I have at least 5 kits that are untouched in my closet, just waiting to be used. But I don't have time because I'm crocheting all the time. Once I get all these orders done and then I start building back my stock on my website, I can start having a little fun time. Currently at the moment, I do not have any time to cross stitch. And let me tell you, cross stitching takes forever. Longer than knitting. Like, wow. What made you decide to start your crochet business? Whenever I started crocheting, I was young and I was just crocheting for fun, and I crocheted a lot of stuff. And then eventually I had too much stuff. I was like, what am I even supposed to do with all this stuff? At some point, like, you can only make yourself so many hats. Like, I was like, what am I supposed to do with all this crap? Having a business was not something that I thought I could do. My family and my friends are the ones that were telling me, like, you should just start selling stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. So I did. I started selling stuff, and now I'm here. So thank you to my friends and family for setting me up for the rest of my life. All right. Last but not least, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. So here we go. Yes. No. No. 5.5? And yeah, I think that's it. So, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching. You should subscribe to my channel. I would really, really appreciate it. Leave this video a thumbs up. And why don't you go watch some of my other videos? Peace and love. Thank you. Bye-bye.